Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're doing a deep dive on a blog post I found really fascinating. It's called Give Yourself Permission and You'll Find the Way.
Intriguing title.
Right. And it's by this artist, Slart.
Okay.
And it's really about this journey of turning this like really boring wall into this like amazing community mural.
I see.
But it's like so much more than that.
Okay.
It's really about like overcoming self-doubt and like finding your way as an artist.
So it's like personal growth intertwined with artistic expression.
Exactly. Yeah. And it all starts with Slart, like noticing this wall, like, those walls you just walk by and you're just like, oh, another wall.
Yeah, like a nondescript.
Exactly. But this one is in Swindon near the Designer Outlet Village.
Okay.
And Slart was just like, this wall has potential.
Interesting. So they saw something that most people wouldn't.
Totally. But then they had this moment of like, wait, can I even do this? Like,
Self-doubt creeping in.
yeah, like, is this too big of a project for me?
I can relate to that feeling.
Right. And so they actually reached out to this like really famous muralist, Ken White.
Oh, wow.
And we're just like, hey,
Get this idea.
for advice.
Yeah, like how do I even start? I see it. And White was just like, you've just got to do it.
Wow. That's
Simple, right?
yeah, but so powerful.
I know. But like sometimes that's all you need, right?
Sometimes, yeah, it's that push to just take the first step.
That's exactly it. And that's where that title of the blog post comes in. Give yourself permission.
Yeah, I see the connection.
It's not just about getting permission from like the council to actually paint the wall.
Which, by the way, they did get permission, right?
They did. And you know what's crazy? That counselor who gave them permission
Yeah.
is now the head of the council.
No way. What a coincidence.
I know. But it's really about giving yourself permission to like,
To go for it.
yes, to believe in yourself and your vision.
It's so important, especially for artists, to overcome that inner critic.
Totally. And so Slart gets permission and they're like, okay, let's do this. So what was their initial vision for the mural?
So at first they wanted to do like a tribute to their late multimedia tutor, Paul Moss.
Oh, that's nice, like a way to honor their legacy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But then they started getting feedback from the community.
Oh, interesting. How did that go?
Well, not quite as expected.
Oh.
The community was like, we love the idea of a mural,
Right.
but we want something that celebrates Swindon and Wiltshire's heritage.
It's a bit of a curveball.
Yeah, like specifically, they were really interested in the history of the GWR Railway Works.
That makes sense. It's about reflecting the local identity.
Exactly. And I think that's what's so cool about Slart.
What do you mean?
They could have been like, no, this is my vision. This is what I'm doing.
Right.
But instead, they were like, okay, let's hear what the community wants.
That's a mark of a true artist, I think, that willingness to adapt.
I think so, too. And honestly, it seems like it was meant to be.
How so?
So they start this GoFundMe to raise money for the mural.
Uh-huh.
And they hit their goals super fast. But then, and this is the crazy part, they meet this woman named Helen.
Okay.
And guess what?
What?
Helen had been trying to get a mural on that exact same wall for years.
Whoa, what are the chances?
I know, right? Like fate intervened or something?
It's like the universe was conspiring to make this mural happen.
Totally. And they actually meet at this really cool cafe called Made in Bahia.
Oh, tell me about it.
So it's owned by this guy, Gerson Silva, and it seems like just a really vibrant community space.
So the cafe becomes a part of the story, too.
It does. And this is where Slart and Helen have their first brainstorming session for the mural.
That's so cool how these little details add to the whole narrative.
Right. But here's another twist.
Mm-hmm.
Another artist, Cello, joins them for the brainstorming.
Okay.
And Slart is a little, like, apprehensive.
Really? Why?
They say they're more comfortable coming up with ideas on their own.
Oh, like a solo ideation kind of person.
Exactly. Like, they need that space to think things through before, like, bringing other people in.
Makes sense. Different artists have different processes.
Yeah, and I think that's an important point. Like, there's no right or wrong way to be creative.
Absolutely. Some thrive in collaboration. Others need that solitary time.
Totally. So Slart's sitting there in the cafe, feeling a bit overwhelmed by this group, brainstorming.
I can imagine.
And then they glance out the window,
Good guess.
and that's when inspiration strikes.
No way. What did they see?
They see these, like, red brick arches. They were part of the old railway buildings.
Oh, wow.
And boom, the 10 artists, 10 arches concept is born.
So cool. Like the architecture itself sparked the idea.
Exactly.
What a great example of finding inspiration in unexpected places.
Right. And it's like Slart was able to take that solitary inspiration and then bring it to the group.
A perfect blend of individual and collaborative energy.
I know. It's so cool.
So 10 artists, 10 arches. I love that.
Right. And it's like each arch becomes this like mini canvas for telling a different part of Swindon's story.
That's brilliant.
I know. And you can just feel Slart's enthusiasm. Like they're so excited to be working with all these other talented artists.
Do they mention any of the artists by name?
Yeah, they do. They mention Adam Crossland, Karen Coe, Inka Moli Joxta, Harry Deering,
Okay.
and Carly Byrne.
Quite the lineup.
Right. And Slart even gives like a special shout out to Harry Deering.
What do they say?
They're just like, I was blown away by their work.
That's so cool.
I know. It's just like really heartwarming to see that kind of like support and admiration among artists.
It speaks to the collaborative spirit of the project.
Totally. And actually, speaking of collaboration, Slart ends up forming this group called the Redcliffe Collective.
Oh, wow. So it like extends beyond the mural itself.
Yeah. It's like this group of artists who came together for the project and are like continuing to create and collaborate.
That's amazing. It's like the project had this ripple effect.
Exactly. But okay, let's like actually talk about the process of creating this mural.
Okay, yeah, let's get into the nitty-gritty.
So they start by like painting the arches themselves.
Okay.
And they use stencils to get that like brick effect.
Makes the...
But then they say something that I think is so interesting.
What's that?
They're like, I'm way more comfortable with estimation than like strict precision.
Interesting. So they're not afraid to eyeball things.
Exactly. They're not like measuring every single detail.
I feel like that can be so freeing for an artist.
Right. Because sometimes that like pursuit of perfection can just like
Hold you back.
totally. And Slart even says that sometimes a little bit of imperfection can actually like make the art better.
I agree. It adds character, a human touch.
Yeah, it's like those little imperfections become part of the story.
Exactly. Like you can feel the artist's hand in it.
And this like whole idea of embracing imperfection comes up again when they're talking about getting supplies.
Oh, how so?
So instead of like meticulously calculated how much paint they needed,
Yeah.
they just like estimated.
Interesting.
They're like, yeah, I'll probably need more of this color or less of that.
And just kind of figured it out as they went along.
Exactly. And I think that's such a valuable skill, like in any creative field, really.
Yeah. Being able to adapt to the unexpected.
Yeah, like not letting uncertainty paralyze you.
It's about trusting the process.
Totally.
Yeah.
And Slart talks about how this approach helped them manage the like enormity of the project.
I can imagine it could feel overwhelming.
Right. But they just broke it down into like smaller chunks.
Like one arch at a time.
Exactly. And it's almost like that mirrors the whole collaborative nature of the project. Right?
Each artist focusing on their own piece, contributing to the whole.
It's like a giant puzzle coming together.
I love that analogy.
But, okay, let's talk about the community response because this is where it gets really special.
Okay.
You can just tell from Slart's writing that this mural wasn't just about like making the wall look pretty.
It's about something more.
It was about creating something meaningful for the people who live there.
And did it.
Oh, yeah. They talk about residents like stopping by, sharing their stories. Some people were even moved to tears.
Wow, that's powerful.
Right? And there's this one story that really stuck with me about this older gentleman. He had actually worked at the railway works back in the day.
Oh, wow.
And he's standing there looking at the mural and like tears well up in his eyes.
I'm getting chills just hearing that.
I know. It was like the mural transported him back to his youth.
It became a bridge between the past and the present.
Exactly. And it just shows the power of public art to like connect with people on such a deep level.
To evoke memories, to spark conversations, to create a sense of shared history. It's like it gave him a tangible connection to his past.
Yeah, and it's like more than just like personal memories too, right? It's about connecting with the history of the community.
Exactly like a shared history.
And Slart mentions that the mural actually got coverage from like local and national media.
Oh, wow. So it really caught people's attention.
Yeah, it's like it tapped into something bigger than just Swindon.
It became a story that resonated with people beyond the immediate community.
And you know who else noticed? Ken White.
No way. The muralist Slart reached out to in the beginning.
Yep. He like saw the finished mural and was just like, this is amazing.
That's got to feel good.
Right. Like coming full circle.
It's like validation for the whole journey.
Totally. And it kind of goes back to his advice too. You've just got to do it.
Sometimes the simplest advice is the most powerful.
I think so too. But I think what really gets me about Slart's blog post is that it's like subtly challenging us too.
What do you mean?
It's like they're asking us what eyesores are we putting up with in our own lives.
Woo! I like that. What blank canvases are we ignoring?
Exactly. And it doesn't have to be literal, right?
Right. It could be anything.
Yeah.
A relationship, a project, a bad habit.
Anything. It's about recognizing those areas where we could be creating something beautiful and meaningful.
So it's not just about art. It's about life.
Exactly. I think Slart's story is a perfect example of what can happen when we give ourselves permission.
Permission to create, to connect, to grow.
Yes, to silence those inner critics and just go for it.
Because we all have that power within us.
I totally agree. So as we wrap up this deep dive into Slart's journey,
A truly inspiring one.
I want to leave you with this question. What permission do you need to give yourself today?
What eyesore in your life is waiting to be transformed?
Thanks for joining us in this deep dive, and we'll see you next time.